of the F1 show, and we are recapping the 2022 Australian Grand Prix. The last time we were in Australia was in 2019, and now we're back in 2022. Qualifying was very dramatic, but at the end of it, the top 10 was Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Daniel Ricciardo, Esteban Ocon, Carlos Sainz, and Fernando Alonso. Carlos Sainz got a really bad deal as he was on a flyer, then he had a yellow flag, then when he started over he ran wide, and then he just couldn't finish his lap. So Carlos Sainz ended up in P9. Now, everyone got off the line after a good start of the first lap. On the second lap, it even got worse for Carlos Sainz. After starting in P9, he fell all the way to P14 as he couldn't get grips with the tires. Then he went too hot into turn 10 and now braked himself and stuck it in the gravel trap. And that was it for his Australian Grand Prix 2022. He was out. Then on lap 24, Vettel crashed and a safety car came out. This gave George Russell a great advantage and he pitted. He then jumped into P3 ahead of Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton. At this point, it was still Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, and then George Russell for the top three. On lap 39, then we see Max Verstappen stopping on the side of the road. Once again, a power issue from Red Bull, dropping out of the race. Perez got around George Russell, and then the order was finishing P1, Charles Leclerc, fastest lap. P2, Sergio Perez, plus 20 seconds behind Charles. P3, George Russell. P4, Hamilton. Norris finishing 5, Ricciardo finishing 6, Ocon at 7, Bottas at 8, Gasly at 9, and Alex Albon with a fantastic P10. He started in P20 and finished in P10. He did 57 laps out of the 58 on the hard tire, pitted on the last lap and came out ahead of Guanyu Zhou, and then it was a brilliant finish to the end of the line. Wonderful drive by Alex Albon. So once again, it shows that Ferrari had the pace at Australia, and it was somewhat of a good pace ahead of the Red Bull. Somehow Red Bull just couldn't hook up their car around a lap, but Charles Leclerc was the main contender this weekend. Now with Max Verstappen dropping out of 2 races out of the 3 so far, now we can see the standings have definitely shifted. Who we see at P1 is Charles Leclerc with Ferrari at 71 points. Then second place, George Russell with Mercedes at 37. Carlos Sainz Ferrari at 33. Sergio Perez Red Bull at 30. Lewis Hamilton 28. Max Verstappen at 25. Ocon at 20, Lando Norris with 16, Kevin Magnussen with 12, Valtteri Bottas at 12, Daniel Ricciardo at 8, Pierre Gasly at 6, Yuki Tsunoda at 4, Fernando Alonso with 2, Guanyu Zhou with 1, and Alex Albon with 1. Knowing how Mercedes started out the year so far, no one thought they would be second in the standings, and it's with George Russell. I think consistency is the key, and once they're there in the background, if anything happens to Red Bull or Ferrari, then they're there to pick up the pieces. So that's now in the team standing, we see Ferrari at 104, Mercedes at 65, Red Bull at 55, McLaren at 24, Alpine at 22, Alfa Romeo at 13, Haas F1 at 12, AlphaTauri at 10, Williams at 1, Aston Martin still at 0. I think this is a very disappointed campaign with Aston Martin having such high hopes coming into 2022. The cars were not performing whatsoever in Australia. Both Vettel and Lance Stroll crashed out. The team went all out and fixed cars. Great work by the mechanics. I think the team at Aston Martin did a fantastic job. The car was just not performing whatsoever. Vettel said he had difficult braking into corners. He could not predict the car. I think they really have to go back to the drawing board and come back strong in the next few races. They still have quite a few races to go. They still can get some points, but they really need to put some work into it. The car has not been looking good, but we know that hopefully with their knowledge, their engineers, I think they can put something together to get some points on the board for the rest of the season. No, that was a wrap up of Australia 2022. We then move on to the next race at Italy in Imola on April 22 to 24. Thank you for listening and staying tuned. Please subscribe. Please hit that notification bell. And thank you very much for listening. And I catch you in the next one.